the president of Ghana, Nana Akufo-Addo, Vice President, Dr. Bawumia, Speaker of Parliament, Honorable Agbin Gbagbo, and Justice Tokin, the Chief Justice. The fourth estate, that is the press or mass media, the clergy, and all other interested citizens of Ghana. I've just been mandated to give a lecture, more or less, on the spiritual status of Ghana. And I will humbly like this lecture to be referred as an open letter to you. Because much as I feel that we are all stakeholders, you have a prominent role to play if it is worth pursuing at all. The lecture just summarizes spiritually or from biblical records how the spiritual status was conferred on Ghana. I will humbly beg to add the empirical evidence, which I didn't. On 25th of July 1962, Prophet John Mensah and his private secretary, incidentally Reverend Kote, the speaker, toured many places, important places in the world, and brought some paraphernalia, which were tokens of important things locked up in the heart or navel of some important nations. And when we reached Jordan on this memorable day, the Lord told the prophet that the essence of the world tour is to transfer, or the climax of it is to transfer the spiritual or kingdom status. Main purpose of the world tour is to collect some paraphernalia, important ones from some selected nations, and bring them to Ghana as token of the transfer of power from Israel to Ghana. When Israel was the kingdom center, these things or these important tokens were with them spiritually. And so since the transfer is now being made from Israel to Ghana, it's important that we bring along this thing. And so on that memorable day, 25th July 1962, the transfer of the kingdom center was made from Israel to Ghana. Yes, it was a spiritual phenomenon. but it's very, very true. The prophet is no more, he's passed on to glory, but I can bear the evidence. And so Jesus did what he wanted to do. But since he wanted people to know the truth or to see the empirical evidence, while the transfer was being made, incidentally at the same time, one Mrs. one midwife, Mrs. McHanson, was seeing a cord attached to Israel being drawn to Ghana and joining Ghana. And when we came back, he narrated, and we could see this happened around the same time. Something else happened. I, in person, or particularly, the prophet was seeing everything that was happening. But in my case, what was revealed to me was that there was some sort of a crane which came down and picked the prophet and put him in the water for some time. Then the crane came back, and there was a sign that I should go on it. I was on it, and I was also picked and sent down into the water. It was there. I got all the message and what was being done. By then, the prophet had seen everything already. And there was another lady at Cape Coast who was seeing these things spiritually or in the form of vision. She saw Jesus baptizing the prophet in River Jordan, where he himself was baptized by John. And he saw his private secretary too, in the person of the speaker, being baptized. It was after this baptism, I didn't see Jesus, but some people saw it, and the prophet confirmed that the mandate was given, fully given to Prophet John Mensa to engage in the transfer operation, which was carried out by Jesus himself in accordance with the prophecy. And so this is the empirical evidence. And you could see there was resemblance, or you could see some resemblance between the evidence and then the biblical record that a prophet from the center of the world is being used to convey the spiritual status of Israel to Ghana. Before we left the shores of Ghana, we went to the Israeli embassy to obtain visa. And the first lady, the then acting ambassador to Israel, prepared the papers and then asked us to come in 5 days' time. But before we left there, Prophet John Mensa saw a message. Prophet John Mensa saw something. He saw that she had received a letter, an important letter from Israel. And he told her the contents of the letter exactly. So when we come in 5 days' time to pick the visa, that letter had reached Ghana and the contents correct, 100%. And so he asked us to inform her when we reach Israel, and we sent telegram. So when we reached Israel, there was bunting and everything at Tel Aviv. We thought the head of state was visiting Israel, Tel Aviv, not knowing all this was made for us. She has sent a letter to the government of Israel that a prophet from Ghana was visiting the land of prophets. And so when we visited the office of the Jewish rabbinate, the director of the rabbinate prophesied. He said after the destruction of the temple of Solomon, they have a saying in Israel that God has forsaken his people and no major prophet will come from Israel again. But he said, this saying has been proved wrong today. And with his hands, as if anointed, he said, God has sent a prophet into the world. This time, not from Israel, but from Ghana. You are the one. Before we reached what you call Jordan, and the transfer was made. And so even from this, you could see that it wasn't just something, but something divinely planned. And so, honorable gentlemen, from biblical records, from historical standpoint, and from empirical evidence, I personally believe and know that the status is with Ghana. And if so, it is very important for us to know. And so I'm calling upon our prophets. We have many of them, too many, for even a small nation like Ghana, to pray to the Almighty, because our God is still living. He can reveal. Not only reveal when somebody will win election or somebody will die, but he can reveal more important things to us. And so we should all go down on our knees and get it. When we get to know our status, then as the lecturer said in the message, we will be in a position to claim all the benefits attached to it. The head of state, speaker, and chief justice too, and all politicians vying for power. If we get to know our status, then we'll find out what sort of government is suitable for Ghana. And we clearly see that it is theocratic democracy, where Jesus is the head of government, head of parliament, head of judiciary. And so we will account, finally, politicians will account formally, including the head of state, their stewardship to Jesus, not only to the electorate, but to Jesus himself, who knows everything. And this has a tendency of reducing corruption to the barest minimum. Because if you know Jesus knows all what you are doing, and you have to report to him, you will be honest. And then we have somebody as our head in God's stead, Jesus. In Isaiah 33, verse 22, he said, the Lord is our lawgiver, he is our judge, and he is our head of state. And Jesus is occupying this position. And so the president, speaker, chief justice, the cabinet, all parliamentarians, and everybody having something to do with the nation will attempt to do it faithfully and honestly. And this will spare untold or unqualified blessing on the nation of Ghana. And so please, all hands on deck. I am not forcing you to do it, but I am humbly imploring you because we are all stakeholders. Ghana belongs to all of us. We stand to lose or gain by our actions. Thank you very much for allowing me to address a speech to you as open letter. Thank you, and God bless all of us.